Bum bum. Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement and a special Mandalorian season 3 finale recap edition of My Mom's Basement. I am your host, Din Fox. With me is my co-host, Din Clem. How are you, Clem?
The Din Boys. That's what they're going to
The
call us
Din
now.
Boys, yeah.
I kind of like how we're just going to throw the din around. That's a great call. A great call.
We throw the D around all over the place.
Interesting season, Bob. We made it to the end. We got here. We got here in one piece.
We've made it to the finale. It's been an interesting reception so far. We're recording this on the day it came out, obviously. It seems like half of my mentions are people saying they were a little underwhelmed, and the other half of my mentions is people saying that was everything I wanted out of that finale. What an amazing Star Wars adventure. Which side of the fence do you find yourself falling on, Clem?
I find myself squarely, my asshole has a fence post right up because I'm right on the fence. Middleman Clem, right?
I am too. Yeah. You know what's so funny is this is going to sound absurd, but this was, in my opinion, one of the best episodes in the history of the show. And it also left me feeling a little bit underwhelmed. Like they left a little bit too much in the bone. They played it a little bit too safe. They didn't take enough risks, maybe. I don't know if that's just me hyping it up so much in my head, though. You know, I was putting out all the theory videos, the prediction videos. Clem, I think I went 0 for 6 in my predictions. I didn't get anything right. And truly, yesterday, when I put out that video, I was like, I don't know if I'm just a genius, but I think I'm going like 6 for 6 here. And I went 0 for 6.
Yeah, we have a tendency to, do things, say things, and being dead wrong. Speaking of which, a very heartfelt apology to the armorer who we slandered for like a good 15 minutes straight last week. That's on us. That was a fuck up. That was our fault. I think the action parts of this show were awesome. I think the story part of this show and the plot and just everything was either underwhelming or rushed. So I think that's why we're getting these two feelings. It's perfectly balanced. And I'm not even going to say as all things should be. I'm going to do the old Star Wars balance here, the light and the dark side. I do think there is a clear like middle ground I think most people can stand on. Now with Star Wars, if you don't agree with me, you are wrong. You're an idiot. You're a fucking either you're a sheep or you are a person that can never be happy with Star Wars, right? I think that's how it has to be if you disagree with someone on Star Wars. So you know what? It's kind of like this season, I guess, right? This season, there were some good parts, there were some bad parts. And at the end of it all, we got this episode, and it kind of fits in perfectly with a season where we had an Andor episode, we had a Lizzo episode, we had just regular Mando episodes, and then we just had like the holy shit action-packed, yet only 39-minute long episode, which I think, all right, tell me if you agree on this. Do you feel like this could have been one giant episode with last week?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it basically bled into it.
This
felt like basically when we hop into this finale, it felt like you hopped into the third act of a Star Wars movie. And that Star Wars movie began last week, like you said.
So I skip the previously ons for all shows because I feel like you can get spoiled of what's going to happen if they just show you a character or something you forgot about. You're like, oh, this is going to get wrapped up here. And I did that. I then start the episode and I have what are these fucking clone trooper, Mandalorian trooper, whatever the fuck they're coming at our guys. You Bo-Katan on the run, and I'm just like, oh fuck, we're in the battle right now. Like I needed to be warmed up. I needed to have a couple kisses on the neck, maybe a little foreplay beforehand, and they're just throwing little fucking Clem into the mix, and I have fucking laser beams sailing past my head. So it was a lot to take in. I do think that if you had last week and this week together, I do think there would also. That's the thing. If they had done that and they had the end kind of rushed, it would make sense. You had like 20 more minutes. We would have all been happy. And I think we're going to get into it in the breakdown. Some of the stuff we thought was rushed, but I think they could have taken care of that easy. It's like, I think we're on text thread with the Disney boys, Jeff D. Lowe and Ken Jack. And Jeff said it perfectly. It's kind of like the WandaVision finale where we're just like, there's like 4 other things other than Mephisto that we want to see happen that didn't happen. And then they kind of just like snapped their fingers and it was like, all right, we're done. So I am not going to blame us for this one, Robbie. This wasn't our fan fiction ruining it. I think there was a lot of stuff that could have played out differently. And Mando has 2 seasons worth of story that they've showed us to kind of like, they have a little bit of I go in with higher expectations for them. And I don't think they met them in this episode, but I thought I had a lot of fun too. It's kind of like maybe more of a popcorn movie than a nominee for an award show movie.
And it's tough because last season we very much built towards the goal of like, let's get Grogu back to his kind. And then you finish it off with Luke Skywalker coming back and the CGI blowing our minds. And we see Luke in his prime. You're not going to live up to that. But this season also didn't have as much of a pure, I guess it was taking back Mandalore, but it didn't feel as much as a pure like, hey, we're all going to do one thing here. And then, like you said, it felt rushed. And I don't know what the rush is. What's the rush, Netflix? Or not Netflix, Disney Plus, Netflix too. Fuck them too. Everyone, what's the rush? Just take a deep breath. Your streaming services. You don't have commercials to deal with. You don't have, sponsors and people like that are telling you need this amount of breaks in a show. You can make it as long as you want. You made the Pershing episode 1 hour and 15 minutes. Why did we have to do 39 minutes for the finale? This was such an important episode. A lot of these scenes, I would have liked just a minute or 2 extra. And I also don't want people to take this the wrong way. I very much enjoyed the finale. I thought this was a very, very, very strong episode of The Mandalorian. And as Clem said, it might have had the best action sequences in the entire show. It was awesome. Okay, a lot of this was getting me up out of my couch cheering. I'm going crazy for Grogu and everything. But it did leave me wanting a little bit more, and not in the, oh my God, I can't wait for season 4 way, almost in the like, oh, I wish you did a little bit more in this episode.
Especially because I do think there was a lot of things wrapped up, and there may be a legitimate change in the show, which I think we'll talk about later as well. And for this to be the end of potentially that storyline or that kind of part of the show, it's like, oh, wait, you guys had plenty of runway here. So Dave Filoni, you ain't from Russia, so why you Russian? Shout out my boy Nelly for that line. That was one of my favorite Nelly lines ever.
All right, let's get into the episode. Before we do, make sure you like the video, subscribe on YouTube. Please, if you've been following along for the whole season, make sure to throw us a comment below and be like, hey, I've been here the whole season. We love hearing that. We love hearing that you guys went through the journey with us and everything. I'm going to take my Mandalorian hoodie off if you're watching on YouTube now, because after all the armor slander we did last week, we're not going to be allowed in the covert regardless. So yeah. I'll take this down.
That's a good point. I can't take my Baby Yoda thing off because this is my kid's shirt, and I have to take it off very carefully, or else I'm going to fat guy in a little coat it. So I'm just going to wear it the rest of the episode and sweat a little bit here. So we'll be all right. And in the comments, so everyone on YouTube, time out, pause it. Robbie's getting all dressed up, getting dialed up. Time out. Go in the comments. Give us your finale rating on the ball scale. 0 to 5 is the ball scale, and tell us why. You didn't like this, you did like this, yada, yada, yada. And if you want to do a bonus one, give us the season as well, because I think the season discussion is going to be just as important as this episode.
Yeah. So we start off with Axe Woves, and we know we're going into this thinking there might be an extra spy. Last week it was called The Spies. We only saw one spy. We didn't get another spy in this episode. This is the first thing, but we kick things off with Axe Woves going up towards the fleet for backup. And I'm like, oh man, sus. Like, we were calling the armor out. Now it's clearly going to be this guy, Axe, who's leaving the ship. The way he was going through the rain and everything was very cool. And like you said, the Beskar troopers right away with Bo and the gang. We're right into the midst of the action when this episode starts.
My note here, so Axe is the spy, huh? Fuck him. All right, hand up, Axe. This one's on me. I took away your name. What I thought your name was Axe Wolves, which was the coolest name ever. I will now make good, and I will call him Axe Wolves for now on. I still don't like the character, but I feel bad for calling him a spy that tried to wipe his species off of the universe, basically. So that was on me. I still don't know if maybe we're just reading too much in the spies. Are we just?
I don't know. Are we? I saw someone responded to me and they go, we were the spies because we were spying. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, we weren't. We're not the spies.
The spies are the spies are the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I would love to hear Filoni and Favreau comment on why that episode was titled The Spies at this point. And were they not panicked, because I'm sure they don't panic at this point, but when they see the entire internet be like, wow, it's called The Spies, it must mean a big reveal's coming in the finale, where they like, oh fuck, we should have just called it The Spy.
The Spy. Oh God. Yeah. I almost, that must be one of the like worst parts about like writing, like making scripts and whatever, is seeing the internet just completely bastardize into something completely different. I don't even know if bastardize is the word, but we completely fucked this shit up. We do it with everything. True Detective season 1 is the gold standard for that. We had this, basically the greatest show ever created is in the Reddit of True Detective season 1. That was one of the greatest shows I've ever. Then we watched, we're like, oh, that's the Yellow King. Like, oh, he's just a fucking weirdo and
just a weird lawnmower guy. Yeah. My predictions, by the way, for this episode, I don't think were the craziest out there predictions. I can go through the list. I think it was Grogu gets shot in the chest because he had the armor made by the armor at some point this season. I said, this got to pay off. I said, Bo-Katan rides the Mythosaur, because that was another big tease throughout the entire season. I said maybe Din Djarin gets his helmet removed against his will and he gets mind flayed. That was my most out there bold prediction, that I was like, that would be fucking crazy. But hey, we had the whole Pershing episode about the mind flayer, about the Empire torturing people like that. I added an extra one where I thought that maybe Carson Teva would come in with backup from the New Republic, because they were, not really giving them. That wasn't an official prediction, though. And then what were my other two? Do you remember them from the TikTok?
No. I honestly don't even remember what my prediction. Like when you said the thing with Baby Yoda getting shot.
Oh, Thrawn was one. I thought Thrawn. That was a given.
A given. An absolute layup. An absolute layup.
Yeah, and we didn't get any of that stuff. We didn't even get a post-credit scene. What's up with that? That's a bit lame. That's one thing that I will get a little upset about, because season 1, we get an awesome post-credits with Moff Gideon, the fucking DARKSABER. We're like, holy shit, he's still alive. He's still out there. Season 2, we get an even more badass one with Boba Fett going in. Probably the most badass Boba Fett scene we ever got. Him going into the Jabba's palace, killing Bib Fortuna, kicking him off the throne, and then kicking his feet up on it. And then this one, just nothing. You couldn't even give us like a Marvel one, like when they give us a comedy one. You can't even throw us that bone.
Yeah, just eating shawarma. I would have taken them eating shawarma on their little suburban house. So I was gonna say, it's not, Star Wars has never truly established the post-credit scene, but they have in The Mandalorian. So that is actually a fair point, Rob. So yeah, honestly, in all their shows, even in Andor, we got the Death Star being constructed. In Book of Boba Fett, we got Cobb Vanth being put back together, and he's like half mechanical now. Do you think, hear me out on this one, maybe they did that or didn't do it because next week there's a secret episode, and that's when we're going to get the post-credit scene? Yes, let's go.
Secret episode. This is also in the very beginning of the episode, we see Mando break out of the shackles with that, he was taken away by those Beskar troopers. And we thought, oh my God, the whole episode, he's going to be tortured. He's going to be taken away from the crew. I want to say 1, 2, maybe 2, 3 minutes into the episode, he's free. And he does this with the help of Grogu and IG-12. I loved Grogu just grabbing the troopers and going, no. And there was a big flamethrower moment here. When I say big, the flamethrower was very present, but it's not like the flamethrower had a great moment here. The Beskar troopers try to hit it on Mando, and he's wearing all, I guess, flame retardant stuff. It seems like everyone in the galaxy is wearing this, though, because nothing lights on fire ever.
The flamethrower is the most useless weapon since the Klob in GoldenEye 007 for 64. It's, again, I'm happy it had its moment. I'm happy they're giving it a whirl. They're still trying to figure it out. Those guys at least have the excuse. This is new to them. This is a new weapon. Mando has sucked with the flamethrower, and all the Mandalorians have sucked with the flamethrowers since day one. So yeah, apparently nothing lights on fire. I guess that's one of the things, the way that they build the armor, even the stormtroopers and stuff, no one really just like melts or burns. So it is one of those weird things. We're going to get into this, I think, throughout this episode. Moff Gideon, it's like he learned how to become a supervillain from like a bad supervillain, like a bad superhero movie, right?
It's like, it's almost like he's doing like his own fan acting of Darth Vader. Like he's trying to be Vader, but he's not. Like he clearly isn't.
I have this super duper like badass Mandalorian who's an all-time great bounty hunter. I'm gonna just have a couple guys take him back. I'm gonna just walk to my little lair, just let them take care of it. Like they'll do the rest. And of course it fucking didn't go through. Yet he somehow had dots on these two guys that were color-coded. Baby Yoda had a green dot. He had a green dot of Baby Yoda, yet he couldn't figure out how to not have. All right, we're gonna get to that part later. He couldn't figure out how to not fuck up that entire plan. Yet he had the green dot ready for Baby Yoda. It kind of goes into those little Baby Yoda handcuffs and all this shit. It's like Moff Gideon. He's a great preparer. He's just not a great doer. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here.
Moff Gideon would have the laminated sheet for Star Wars Land like Jeff D. Lowe.
Yes.
If we're being honest, I'm not accusing Jeff D. Lowe of working for the Empire or anything, but he would be a good fit in Moff Gideon's whole crew.
And then when Rock and Roller Coaster, the Aerosmith ride, is shut down, Moff Gideon's whole plan would just go to waste. He's like, well, we can't do the next one. We have to just wait until it opens. Like, dude, it's not opening for like 3 months. And he'd be like, well, I guess we're just going to have to just sit here and wait 3 months then. I have some thoughts on Moff Gideon that I'm going to get off. And oh boy, I can't wait to get him off.
So after Grogu
Don't put that part. Little baby Yoda saying, can't wait to get him off.
I won't. After Grogu saves the Mandalorian, Mando kind of tells him, listen, you're a man now. Like, we're going to have to do some shit today. Let's do this. Come with me. And we get the title of the episode, The Return, which I was wondering, is it going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn's return? Is it going to be the return of Luke Skywalker, of Boba Fett? I think it's just the return to Mandalore.
I was thinking Luke at first, because again, you say the R word in that sense. That's Luke's word from episode 6, obviously. We didn't get that. I guess it was, we know what it ended up being. Also, we said before, Baby Yo fucking fighting a guy and also hitting no to like signal his point. What a fucking move by this guy. What a flex.
I loved it. So insulting. The last thing you hear before you're knocked out by a baby is no. You're like, what? What's going on right now? We see a TIE fleet launch out towards the Mandos in the atmosphere. The way that these things were launching straight down and then out. Oh my God, that was so cool. That's Star Wars porn for me. When
the
I
TIE
see
interceptors, baby. Whoo, they are sexy.
Oh, they were sexy. Gideon realizes Mando's broken free. Like you said, he's got the color-coded dots like they're on a fucking GTA map or something. And Mando and Grogu, when they're sneaking around and they contact R5, they want the schematics of the ship and everything. Did you get A New Hope vibes? Because I got like Ben Kenobi sneaking around the Death Star while we know Darth Vader's out there looking for him. Because Gideon also sees that they're out there and he's like, all right, I'll take care of this, puts the helmet on and leaves. So you're the whole time kind of looking over your shoulder like, where is he?
That's actually a great point. And then we have obviously R5 and that if he played the role of R2-D2 for all the little things in there. So that's actually as I'm thinking this through, this is going to be a hot take, but I'm going to stand by it here. Moff Gideon, I don't know his background, so I'm making my own fan fiction for his background. Moff Gideon was raised a rich man. I mean, I'm talking super rich. I'm talking went to school with the Succession kids. This guy's fucking loaded. Guy got his ranking in the Imperials because, I mean, usually rich people, bad people gets his role.
He's a Nepo baby.
Yeah, he's a Nepo baby. Exactly. Moff Gideon's a Nepo baby. Even the name Moff Gideon, it kind of sounds like someone that would like play polo and shit like that on their free time. This entire series with him involved is basically his like make your own murder mystery, except it's like make your own like Darth Vader fantasy camp. That's what he's basically been living with, right? And the fact that they're like, listen, we got Mando and Baby Yoda. We color coded them on the map right here. All these stupid stories that have like been good, but then it just like falls apart at the end. It's because like he's not fucking Darth Vader. He's not that guy, and he's just he's a Nepo baby. He can't fucking get it done. So this is how I'm going to like trick my brain. What do they call it? Retconning. This is how I'm retconning the rise and fall of Moff Gideon, who honestly at this rate is a glorified Captain Phasma in my head. I think this guy's an absolute fucking bum. Moff Gideon is a bum.
Honestly, the Captain Phasma comparison is not bad. That's really not bad. Like, looks really cool. When it comes down to business, though, they just get murked every time.
I mean, bum rushed. Again, we said during when they fought last time, Mando pinned him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, clean match, referee fucking, you could hear the count, and he didn't even get up quickly, got his ass in handcuffs, and they just threw him, and he didn't even get like attempted to be saved by anyone. He's a bum.
I mean, how about season 1, Clem, when he's flying around in a TIE fighter? Literally, he's got a full TIE fighter, and Mando like literally grappling hooks it and just flies onto him with a hits a detonator in there, and boom, blows him up like that.
Like, what are we doing right now?
It's almost like Kenny with South Park.
Yeah.
Every season he comes back for the final 2 episodes. Mando kills him, and we'll like see you next season.
And they're like, oh, and then us dumbasses are like, oh boy, how are we gonna get out of this one with Moff Gideon? It's like Mando's gonna wake up and use his left hand and kick his ass in 3 seconds every fucking time. Absolute bum.
And Mando like loses fights to everyone else pretty much.
I wanted to change him from being known as the Mandalorian because he was, besmirching the name of Mandalorians for everyone else.
Yeah.
Yet this guy, his record, you're like, man, Mando has a great record. It's like, well, 89% of those victories are against Moff Gideon, who is fucking Glass Joe. He's fucking 1 in 99 for his career. He stinks.
Yeah, he kind of does. Moff Gideon, played by Giancarlo Esposito, though. You get Giancarlo Esposito in the role, he's going to fool us every time.
This series was the greatest thing Giancarlo Esposito has ever done. His acting is that great. And trust me, Gus Fring is like my favorite character ever. This making us scared of Moff Gideon 3 different times and watching him just get his dick kicked in by Mando every single time. It's only because I respect Giancarlo Esposito so much in his acting. That's the only reason why I thought, like, any other actor, I'm like, again, Phasma. I told you the first time we saw Phasma, like, that chick stinks. And then she just kept getting worse. It's a glorified Captain Phasma. Cool name, sweet outfit, nothing but L's.
And honestly, he died one more time than Captain Phasma. Phasma just got defeated twice. He's got 3 on his record now. It's tough. It's real tough.
That motherfucker better be dead too. He better be dead. I do not want to see a fucking other Moff Gideon sighted. I am done with him. I was done with Phasma. I'm definitely done with Moff Gideon at this point.
We'll get into it. I think he's alive. I think he's alive.
No.
So Axe sends everyone off the ship, and he takes the reins as it's about to be attacked. Another thing where I'm like, all right, this is sus. He's getting all the Mandalorians off the ship. Maybe this is a safe ship, but he's getting them into danger. He's going to take the ship and just fly away, and we're going to be like, holy shit. But no, he's just really sacrificing himself here, or at least it looks like he's sacrificing himself. And Mando then works his way down a hallway of Beskar troopers with R5 unlocking each barrier shield for him one at a time as he just goes through them, stealing their weapons, hitting them with really cool maneuvers, hitting a shield and like Captain America style combat at one point. I loved this. As R5 is trying to unlock the doors, mouse droids are coming after him and ratting him out. Mouse turns into a rat.
Oh, Rotochoke.
El Rata Alada, the Batman. But the entire vibe of this scene gave me like prequels meets originals. The R5 stuff felt very much R2. I could see that in one of the original movies. And then the action sequence felt out of the Phantom Menace, but in a good way, in the well choreographed way. I really, really enjoyed this scene. Maybe my favorite in the episode, honestly.
Hand up, I gotta say it. I had no faith in R5. As soon as when they're like, R5, we need you. And he was like playing the chicken roll. He's shivering. He's shivering of fear, and he's a fucking droid. He's like, and he almost falls off the goddamn cliff. I never knew a droid could just fall off a cliff by mistake. And you know what? Like, obviously, he got a little gummed up when all the little mouse droids were around him, which, again, I love that. I love that they brought that one back from the original trilogy, which kind of gave a little more of that original trilogy vibe. But I got to give him credit. He fucking got it done. At tip of the cap to R5. He was an absolute chicken shit for a good chunk of this series, but he came through when it mattered most. Make R2 proud. Also, with Woves, when he was in that ship, I think we all thought the same thing, where they're like, oh my God, this is how he's going to be a double agent. I don't know why a ship on fire is a good thing to have if you're a double agent, but I thought it was. I imagine the people who wrote it were like, yeah, you dumb motherfuckers. The Spies was just a fucking name we came up at 3 a.m. after we were so tired writing out the episode. He's not the fucking spy. So, and also, did he like ever, I know what they end up doing with the ship, but did he ever think like I could just leave the ship instead of blowing up on it potentially? Like, that was crazy to me. When he's on, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Are you sacrificing yourself when you have a jetpack on your back right now?
And then at the last minute, he does break a window and he leaves right before it crashes, but he waited till the last possible second. I think he probably could have just autopiloted it down there.
Yeah, exactly. That could have been done too. Could have fucking hyperdrive it down there too. We learned that, right? That was
the Holdo maneuver, yeah. Mando and Grogu discover some cloning tanks after they make it through the hallway. These are the cloning tanks that we saw last week. We were like, is that Snoke? Is that him? Is that who's that? And all these tanks. It is Moff Gideon. They're all Gideon clones. Current Gideon And we have a very kind of cheesy eye-opening scene where it's kind of a jump scare. When they show the zoom in, I was like, are they about to do the eye-opening jump scare? And they did it. It scared Grogu. Little cheesy. It's Star Warsy though, so I'm like, all right, it's kind of the campiness that comes with an original trilogy or whatever. And Mando just
No, Bob.
destroys them all very quick. No, you're
No.
out on that.
That was sequel trilogy. That shit would have happened in the
Whoa.
sequel trilogy.
Whoa.
I'm just telling you, Bob, that would happen in the sequel trilogy. George wouldn't have done that in the original trilogy. And I'm not saying the original trilogy is by any means perfect. That was a sequel trilogy.
It made me roll my eyes a little bit. And then Mando destroys them all so quick. This is one of the scenes that I could have had a little more time to digest. This felt like it was a 30-second, we were in the room and we were out of the room. And he destroys all the clones, kills them all. Give me an extra minute. Give me, he discovers more papers, more information on the cloning project. I guess Gideon reveals later, like, I was trying to take the best parts of me and give myself the Force, and that's my new army. But like, I don't know, the entire cloning part, it's been going on for 3 seasons now. We're building to that reveal. Let it sink in.
That was tough. The whole reason we met Baby Yoda is because they needed him for the, I want to see the baby. And obviously they're using him for the Force and all his genetics and shit like that. And the fact we find out it's Moff Gideon, which was a reveal. I didn't see that coming. I thought Snoke was going to be the thing, or it would just be faceless people we don't know anything about. And then they zoom in. Ken Jack said, like, why wouldn't you zoom in, like, clone like 25 Gideon instead of like 60-year-old Gideon? And then there's like a fucking, like, basically they're like, Mando. It was like with Christopher Lloyd. It's like, hit this button and all the clones and the millions and bazillions of dollars and man hours that went into it will just be wiped away and destroyed. What are we fucking doing here, Bob? Like, tell me these things cannot be destructed unless there's 17. It's harder to get into the Nakatomi safe in Die Hard in 1989 than it is to fucking wipe out like a dozen clones that God knows the amount of units, credits have been used to create these fucking things. That was just, and again, you could do this with, Empire Strikes Back. Oh, Darth Vader's his father. What a lazy fucking way to like write it around. I understand you can pick apart Star Wars every time. This was a tough one for me. And the jump scare, I think we all said, don't do it. Please don't do it. You did it. And that was a sequel trilogy thing that happened to me many times. That's all I'm going to say.
I didn't like the jump scare. What I do like is HelloFresh, though. HelloFresh is one of our favorite sponsors here in the basement. HelloFresh takes the hassle out of mealtime this spring by delivering pre-portioned ingredients and easy-to-prepare recipes right to your door. Skip the checkout lines and get outside in the warmer weather because HelloFresh has dinner covered. I got to go on HelloFresh's website, or maybe you could do it as I do this ad read. I believe I saw in a commercial the other day that they're doing meals inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Which seems right up the basement's alley. If you could find that on the HelloFresh website, I would love to figure that out. But April is Earth Month. So think about this. HelloFresh is always committed to a cleaner planet. On average, HelloFresh meals have a 31% lower carbon footprint than the same meals made from supermarket ingredients. And Taylor Swift is on tour right now. She's flying around that private jet all over the place, killing the country. You got to save it. This is the light side versus the dark. And I love Taylor Swift. I love her. But you just got to save the planet. Clem, have you found anything on those Guardians meals?
Buddy. Do we have some fucking HelloFresh Guardians meals? The Guardian Snack Adventure features pre-portioned ingredients and step-by-step recipe cards to make 2 servings of Zarg Nut Bites and Mango Milky Fizz at home, plus collectible milk cartons and a jar, complete with cosmic design straight out of nowhere. That's with a K-N-O-W. We know how the Guardians talk, to keep these snacks from getting mixed up with earthly foods. What's a Zarg Nut Bite? Crushed pretzels, salted cashews, sweet Thai chili sauce, which is always awesome. I love when they have that in
favorite.
There. And chocolate chips come together for a salty, crunchy snack made famous by the Guardians franchise. And then the Mango Milky Fizz. It is apricot jam, coconut milk, seltzer, and mango bits for a bubbly and subtly sweet drink. And it comes in like this Guardians pack. It's beautiful, Bob. It's beautiful.
Talk about a perfect sponsor for My Mom's Basement right here. This is, how could you not want to try Zark Nuts after hearing about them in all the Guardians movies and everything like that? Go to HelloFresh, get yourself some of this, and we're going to get you a code too. So if you go to HelloFresh.com/Fox50, Fox50, and use that same promo code Fox50, you'll get 50% off plus your first box ships free. Just in time for Guardians 3. What an amazing deal. It's not just dinner, by the way. HelloFresh has you covered for every mealtime occasion. Snacks, like you just heard, easy lunches, seasonal celebrations, festive gatherings. Even if you're looking to have a little dinner before you go see Guardians, how about that? Make yourself some of this Argonauts. Pack it in. Don't tell the theater that you're doing this, but pack it into your pocket, sneak it in there, and then eat the HelloFresh in the theater.
You got to eat like Drax really slow so you're invisible.
So slow and they won't be able to see you. Go to HelloFresh.com/Fox50 right now. Use that promo code Fox50 and you'll get 50% off and free shipping on your first box. Awesome deal from HelloFresh.
Got to get that. I got to get that before the movie comes out. We have a couple of weeks we have 3 weeks before the movie comes out, give or take. Got to get that. Got to get my Zargnuts in me.
So Bo is taken to a nice cave with plants. It's the underground gardens. I think this was just a quick scene to show that there's hope for Mandalore. You can rebuild. She realized, I didn't even realize we could do gardens like this. And they're like, oh, yeah. So we know Mandalore is on its way, especially after the ending of this episode. And they drop out of ships now. They go up into ships, all the Mandalorians. They drop out and they go to war in the skies with Bo-Katan leading the crew like this. See that? I just brought the Darksaber on the pod if you're not watching on YouTube. I stole this from Jeff Delo's desk today, and I said, I promise I'm not going to crush it for you. This wasn't the one he got in Disney, though. This is like a cheap Hasbro version.
I was going to say, I can't believe, Jeff, let you have that on Mandalorian finale day. That doesn't say-
No, not as legit one from Galaxy's Edge. Oh, by the way, something I wanted to bring up from Galaxy's Edge on this podcast in particular, and I forgot when we were talking about the mouse droids. They had in one of the shops like a life-size mouse droid hung up somewhere, way bigger than I expected. That was another thing where I was like, much like the probe droid, where I'm like, holy fuck, mouse droids. I would be a little bit more intimidated by them if I knew how big they were.
The Empire is definitely an intimidating kind of place that would have those things being bigger than you would think, right? It makes sense.
Yeah. So then Moff Gideon confronts Mando. They finally have this face-off. They begin to fight, and Moff Gideon gets the better of him right away. That new suit, you could tell it's just robot, technology all over the place. Praetorian guards show up, and this separates them. Very much a video game-esque scene where it's like Praetorian guards show up, and it's like you got to take out the boss's goons to get to the boss again, And then Grogu comes in. As soon as he sees the Praetorian guards, he's like, oh, I got to go save my dad. He runs in, and then they really get separated. Grogu's brought into a separate room with the Praetorian guards, and they take down the IG-12 suit pretty quickly with their purple energy weapons. Now, this is an important scene for you to break down, Clem. I think you in particular, because earlier in the season, we talked about Baby Yoda's jumping, Grogu's jumping. And you said if it ever comes down to an important scene where he has to jump, they have to do that CGI a little bit better. I feel like this was a pretty important scene where he did a lot of jumping. He jumped on top of the lights, jumped away from them. How did you feel it looked?
It was all right. Again, I had it in my head as soon as he started jumping, like, oh, this is exactly what I was worried about happening. It definitely was not as bad as the paintball scene. The paintball scene is when it looked extremely goofy. It does look weird, but it's also like a little 1-foot creature doing fucking jumping somersaults or whatever. So it was just kind of odd. But I could live with it. It was fine. It was passable for me. I
thought it was pretty good because they were quick cuts too. I thought that really helped. It wasn't as much like the paintball scene was like, it felt like a slow motion jump and then they reversed the shot. It's literally the same shot. They just reverse it. This one was more of a quick jump, 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 jump. You're over here, more of like a Yoda Attack of the Clones pinball little guy.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. I was fine with it. By the way, I put that on Instagram. I'm still getting fucking comments and likes on it. That thing is moving. So there is a faction of us out there that believe that was a little silly.
You got 400,000 views on TikTok. I think there's definitely a faction out there. Yeah.
We're talking like a motherfucker right now. That's right. Me and Baby Yo. We just have to do TikToks about Baby Yo, and we'll become bigger than anything else in Barstool history. We just have
Although my TikTok now with my finale predictions is going off. Post finale because people in the comments are like, aha, look at this nerd. He went 0 for 6. I'm like,
Idea. Just thought of this content idea. Give that video to Big Cat and he does the, oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no.
Good idea.
And we'll get the views. Big Cat gets to Big Cat and Baby Yoda, baby. That'll put us, we'll get a B next to the views on that one. You just have to, you have to duet it. Is that still a thing on TikTok where you do the duets?
I don't know if TikTok is duet or remix. I know, and I think
Oh,
TikTok is
dick.
duet, yeah, and IG Reel is remix. I've never done one of those, to be honest.
Well, we got to get the oh no Big Cat because he's hot right now on
Yeah.
TikTok. And your predictions, again, as a guy that has gone 0 for 6 plenty of times with my predictions, that is ripe for the picking right there. So I was fine with it. I actually, when the guards went in with Baby Yoda, I thought it was going to be the Rorschach from Watchmen, where he's like, I'm
Oh,
not in here with you.
Rorschach. Yeah.
They're in here with me. And he was just gonna fucking murk them with the force. And all he would just kind of like just move their weapons away. Like Baby
Yeah.
Yoda was just causing minor inconveniences with the force, but I guess he made it work. Seeing the IG just get crushed, dude, it crushed me. It like broke my fucking heart into a million pieces. It was really fucking sad. Now this is the part about Moff Gideon that really upset me in the beginning of this fight. He basically monologued the entire clone chambers like plan, and he's like, you ruined I tried to do this, make myself have the force, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. And then he just started, that is out of a bad 90s comic book show or movie. I thought that was bad. So that was another problem I had with the Moff Gideon thing. Did you kind of agree with that?
I don't know if I would say it was bad, but I just wanted more. Like when he was done with his little monologue, I was like, oh, that's it. That's like the 3 seasons worth of cloning was just for that 30-second monologue. It was just so quick that I was like, I would have liked to see more of that in, trap him in that cloning room for a second and have his voice come over the loudspeaker like Mando's in a fucking funhouse, like when the Joker's talking to Batman and the Killing Joke, stuff like that. Like, give me more of him being a sick, twisted, like, I've got you trapped here on Mandalore. I'm gonna, instead of just like, all right, here was my whole plan. You want to attack me?
Yeah, it was. Thank you. Okay, because I was on the same page with you as that. So it was like almost Game of Thronesy. Which again, when I'm bringing up Game of Thrones, the final season, it's like, wait, I understand. Okay, that's what happened. Could we have just done this in like a little more time, and it would have made a lot more sense instead of just like, I won't even say the spoilers, but just crazy shit happening. Like, I didn't really see the descent in terms of all that. So, and he's just explaining the entire thing. He's almost the last 3 seasons worth of that plot line were to explain why Moff Gideon seemed really upset there. He's like, this is when you didn't even call and you didn't like. Forget about, he's like, you didn't even blow curfew. You fell asleep. It's 6 a.m. right now. You didn't even call me. I was worried sick last night about you. I felt like Giancarlo Esposito was my dad, and I was being yelled at because it was probably the yell that what's his name? What's Ferris Bueller's friend in the movie?
Oh,
it's Connor Roy in Succession.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah,
Cameron. Cameron.
Like,
yeah. That's the way Cameron's dad talked to him when he finally saw his car. He's like, I've been working on this car forever, and you ruined it. Like,
by the way, are you all caught up on Succession?
I am all caught up on Succession, yes.
Bro, when Connor Roy says "Mi casa es tu casa" and he closed the doors on him, I was in tears. That was one of the funniest lines of the whole season.
I think it's safe to say after hearing that the basement is officially a Connor Roy place. I ride the Shiv wagon for life, but if you're not I say you could have your factions. I'm a Shiv wagon, Womskin wagon, Kendall's crew, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Everybody has to be Connor. If you're not Connor, you're not fucking watching this show, in my opinion, because that guy.
If you're not in the 1% voting him for president, come on.
The 1% is all the viewers of Succession. Exactly.
Yeah. Back to the Mandalorian. Bo-Katan saves Mando's ass once again. Mid-fight, Mando's getting his ass kicked, and Bo-Katan comes down for the save with the DARKSABER. Boom. And she goes, go save your son. She's like, go save your fucking kid. So he goes and he does save his kid. He goes and with the help of Grogu defeats the Praetorian guards. Really cool father-son fight. It's like watching Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. out there. Oh. Grogu's helping him with the Force, like you said, moving the weapons out of the way. It almost felt like he was doing like a Muhammad Ali, like rope-a-dope. Like, oh yeah, you can't hit me here. Well, my dad's about to hit you from the back. And then Bo-Katan versus Gideon. We finally get the fight, because we heard earlier in the season, there wasn't a fight last time. It was a sacrifice, pretty much. It was, I'll surrender this to you. And he turned his back and backstabbed her. Gideon has a new staff type weapon, kind of like a Praetorian Guard lightsaber mix. It's got that purple electricity through it. And the DARKSABER in this fight is destroyed. Grabs it by the hilt. And it reminds me,
Break this.
No, I
break
can't
Jeff's
break.
backup like Darksaber live on the pod. I just want to see his
it
reaction.
as hard as I can, and
No,
I can't.
that's a lie. Break it. Break it. I want to see Jeff's reaction. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's gonna get mad at me.
But this reminded me a little bit of the Skywalker saber getting destroyed in The Last Jedi, where it was a truly like unsuspected moment in terms of twists and turns and shocking moments of the finale. This might be number one in that I don't think anyone predicted the Darksaber is going to get destroyed here and so effortlessly. But yeah, it does. And then the ship comes down that Axe Woves was crashing, flies out of the window. It crashes. The whole entire base is destroyed, fire everywhere, except for a little bubble that Grogu forms around the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan, his mom and dad, his adopted mom and dad at this point. Very much a scene out of Rebels. Kanan Jarrus, a Jedi from that show, does this at one point, shielding them from the fire. So it's very cool. It's been pre-established in Star Wars that a Force user could do this. And I thought the way they shot it was great. The music crescendoing at this moment was great. Cool Star Wars moment, cool big season moment for Grogu that we usually get.
Yeah, our little baby is all grown up. I was very proud of him. He made that Force. He's okay. So I thought like multiple times we were going to get badass Grogu, baby Yoda moments. We thought we were going to get some badass baby Yoda moments because we kind of did have this time where he like would use that Force. Maybe Luke has really made an impression on him of how to use the Force like a Jedi would, like a pussy would. Let's be honest. And it just. Like I was so bummed that we weren't gonna get like I thought he was gonna pick the Darksaber at one point and just get it fucking back on. I was like, oh shit, that's how Baby Yo then gets the Darksaber. Then we have a whole other thing with Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
This fucking guy right here. Now I have to fight Baby Yoda, which like you fight Baby Yoda, you will never lead anybody because no one will ever vote for you or follow you from that point on. I thought again when he was locked in with those guards, I thought he was gonna fuck him up. But we got our nice little Force moment. And you can even tell by the end he was a little tuckered out. He's always so cute when he's tuckered out after I had no idea the Darksaber could just break. That feels like a very now this has probably been around for years, right? This is an ancient weapon.
Oh yeah.
So they just don't make them like but no, they don't make them like they used to. Yeah, that's like the fucking like 1950 Chevys are still probably running fine. It's all these new cars that have computers running them that break down all the time.
Yeah, thanks, Elon.
Yeah, thanks, Elon. By the way, quick rant right here because I can't rant it on Twitter or else I'll get shadow banned. But I just have to say it. I never cared about Elon Musk. Like I know Trent hated him, whatever. I was like, whatever. He's just a guy, whatever. This guy is so fucking annoying now. Like he just tells bad, like not, dad jokes. I love dad jokes. I'm a dad. I say them all the time. He tells like lame stoner, like 420, 69 jokes, but he's not even doing it ironically. I think he's trying to do it.
No, I think he thinks it's funny. Like it's like, hello, fellow kids. You know, it comes in and I think he's taking away all the check marks on 420 tomorrow, like as like a 420 joke.
Oh, that's sick, bro. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, sick, dude.
And he actually made me like I remember when I got my blue check mark. I was like, all right, this is good. I have a blue check mark. This will get me some more stuff. At this point, I'm like, who the fuck wants a blue check mark?
No, like, now I'm like
the last thing in the world I want is a blue check mark. If
I want to be punk rock, I want no blue check mark. The only thing I would ever want to get it for is you can upload like 10-minute videos, and for the podcast stuff like that, that would probably be useful. But I think there's a mode where you could turn the check mark off, and I think I would do that.
Yep. You don't even want to edit tweets because once they edit, it just keeps going to the top of your feed. And then I've like unfollowed people because I'm like, you edit too much, dude. I have
Schefter, send him to fucking jail for how much he does it.
Exactly.
Straight to jail.
That was our Elon Musk portion of the podcast. They could kill his ass next season for all I care as well. I have to also shout out, again, I've made my apologies. The fucking armorer just using straight up prehistoric caveman weapons on these guys. While everyone else is using blasters. We have obviously the Darksaber was awesome when Bo-Katan used it, obviously during the flight. We have all these sweet, weapons for the future, and this bitch is using just a hammer. She's going Triple H sledgehammer. Loved it. Loved seeing that.
Boom, boom. She was so badass in this episode. I felt so bad that we really slandered her all of last week. I said I didn't want to Sparky her, and you were like, no, we're Sparkying her.
We're Sparkying her.
We did. That's what we did. So they have a Mando a celebratory ceremony at the Living Waters. Finally, after an entire season, Ragnar Vizsla gets his little baptism. He gets to do his song, his creed, And then Mando comes down with Grogu, and he's like, I would like Grogu to do this as well. At this point, he's not a foundling. He is my apprentice. And I think that he's ready. And the armor's like, he can't do it. He's too young. He needs his parents' permission to go online. And she's like, okay, okay. He doesn't have his parents. So what do we want to do about that? Like, I'm willing to adopt him. And she's like, this is the way. And I was like, oh, is that? Oh, hold on. My desk is raising. Did you see that?
That was wild. What was that?
It's a fucking desk I got my girlfriend. It goes up and down. I hit the wrong button.
Thought
Unreal.
Baby O was using the force on you from afar.
It looked like I was using the force. Yeah, it's just lifting. But anyway, he says, I'll adopt him. This will be my son from now on. She goes, this is the way. All right, no adoption papers necessary. I guess that's just your kid. What changed then from 5 minutes ago? Like, it was always his fucking son. But that's how it is. And she goes, his name will now be Din Grogu. He takes your name. So now we got a new nickname for him. We got Grogu. We got Baby Goo. We got Baby Yo. We got Baby Yoda. Now we got Din Jr. I kind of like Din Jr.
Ooh, Din Jr. We call him DJ for short. I like this. This can work. That's my guy Daniel Jones. We call him DJ.
I was also thinking,
guys with more power than people realize.
Can we get away with merch? DJ merch now? Like Din Jr.
DJ.
Merch? I don't know. Always trying to figure out a way around the mouse, you know?
This is the thing. You send the right merch and you just have that face on there. Dave ain't going to say no to it. And once the boss man signs off, ain't nobody in the merch department going to be able to overturn that.
And also a big foreshadowing moment here in the finale. We didn't get to see anyone ride the mythosaur, but just as Grogu is sworn in as a Mandalorian, we go down into the living waters and you just see another eye-opening moment, but not a jump scare moment, almost like a feel-good eye-opening moment.
So I was trying to figure out, was this just to say like, oh, if this guy's still alive, because you idiots will probably think he's dead if we don't open his eye, or was that like I sense this is the next future leader of Mandalore right here. That's what I was going to take out of it. Again, thinking way too much and making a script that probably doesn't exist. I'm making my own story. That was the adventure I chose for that scene, is that we're looking at Baby Yo. He's kind of sending little force vibes in the air, and Mythosaur is like, all right, mental note on that kid. And that's okay. Yes. I'm going to make my prediction right now. April 19th, 2023. Some point, Baby Yoda and, Din Jr., DJ, will control or summon
Tame
the Mythosaur. Tame. Yeah, something's going to happen. There's a connection now. We've linked.
I agree.
They've matched on Tinder. They've matched on Foursquare. Right down the road, this is going to pay off in a big way. That's my prediction.
I actually really agree with that. I do think he probably got the vibe of like, whoa, crazy force sensitivity in the waters at this point, something like that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about another sponsor here, a sponsor that is actually responsible for me staying up till 3 a.m. to watch this episode. Our friends at C4 Energy. I love C4 Energy. I got the ultimate here, the Arctic snow cone. And then I've got the Smart Energy over here, sparkling strawberry guava. Last week I had the cherry lime as well. Drank that last night to make sure I could stay up till 3 a.m. I love the Smart Energy. I also love the ultimate zero sugar, the Arctic snow cone. Tastes like a delicious soda. Sometimes energy drinks are super sweet. These are sweet, but they're not like too sweet to drink. I want to guzzle the whole can, honestly, when I have one sip. So listen, fans from near and far, from the top rope to the turnbuckle, from power slams, high flying moves and all, WrestleMania and the WWE is powered by C4 Ultimate Energy, the main event energy drinks that supercharge your performance to the ultimate level. You've got 300 milligrams of caffeine. C4 Ultimate Energy will fuel you with the energy to get hype, whether it's gearing up for a night like last night, pulling an all-nighter, trying to watch Mando, or if you're, trying to play the new WWE video game, which I just got all night, you're trying to beat the new showcase mode, the Cena mode, get some C4 Ultimate Energy. You've got the ingredients like Brainberry in there, Cognizant, helps you improve your focus, keeps you ready to execute that perfect finisher. And it's available at 7-Eleven, which we talked about last week. That's one of the best parts. Go to 7-Eleven. Want to hear some crazy? I took my girlfriend to 7-Eleven and got her Slurpee for the first time this week. She grew up in Ohio, where that's not like they don't have 7-Elevens on every corner. So first Slurpee this week as well.
First Slurpee. And is that her first 7-Eleven visit ever? I feel like it almost goes hand in hand.
Yeah, probably.
And we got our C4 to top it
Picked up
off.
the C4, exactly. The Arctic snow cone, got a couple of these.
Dude,
Superhuman performance. Hey, you don't even need clones with the Force when you got C4.
Just yeah, it's like, hey, idiot Moff Gideon, all you needed was C4. You didn't have to go through all the work here. And I C4 is harder to get rid of than these clones were, apparently. So it would have been safer just to get some C4. I said this last week because the strawberry people could see the color scheme. The color scheme for the fucking Arctic snow cone is incredible too. It's like a black and silver. That is sleek.
Very, very sleek cans. I love the cans, and especially like this one's a bit skinnier too. You get a skinny can. I feel like this is straight out of the galaxy. Like I went on Navarro. I got some of their Bacta juice. I don't know what you would call it.
Zero sugar.
Zero
right
sugar.
there.
That's nice too. That's beautiful. So go
Bobby,
to 7-Eleven.
Bob drinks his weight in sugar every single day. He needs to take a break from it sometimes. C4 gives him a break, thank God.
True. Go to 7-Eleven or C4 Energy to purchase yours in all 4 flavors. Again, this stuff is awesome. You're going to love it. If you need to stay up, go with C4 over the other alternatives. Bo lights the forge once again. We go down to the Great Forge. She lights it. Big moment. Everyone goes for Mandalore. They do the X chant again, which I liked when they're clapping their gauntlets together. Awesome, awesome scene. And I think the forge will one day remake the Darksaber hilt. I think that will be a big thing for either the armor or Bo to do. I think probably we won't see it till maybe the Dave Filoni Mandalore movie. But if that thing gets ignited one more time and we know like, oh shit, we know what that's capable of, it would be a pretty sweet moment. It would even be cool if maybe when they rebuild it, it has a bit of a Kylo Ren aspect to it where it's a little more crackly. It's a little less sleek and quiet.
A little seasoning. It's been through the mud a little bit, for lack of
I would like to see something like that because that's actually in terms of sequel trilogy things that they like put into the trilogy that I love Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I think that was a home run. I know some people thought it was stupid with the broadsword things on the side. I still to this day think that was a fucking awesome, knocked it out of the park move.
I like the sound it made. I like the way it looked. There was nothing I didn't like about Kylo Ren.
The exposed wires on the hilt and everything. Yep. It looked like it was like a DIY bomb. It was great. It was great. Mando visits the New Republic base camp once again. He visits our boy Carson Teva. Dave Filoni was spotted in the background of this scene. I don't know if you saw him wearing his hat by the bar.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to the guy who always wears the cowboy hat. He stood out like a sore thumb. And that was what a move by Filoni. Filoni don't give a fuck right now. He's just letting it fly.
Yeah, he was back there. I want to say the other 2 directors were probably back there as well, but I didn't spot them right away. And he goes up to Teva and he's like, listen, man, I could use a job. I would love to work for you as an independent contractor. I'm not signing up for the New Republic here. That's not Mando's thing that he wants to do here. But he's like, I could do a couple security jobs in the Outer Rim. I'm a bounty hunter by trade. I've got my new son. I think we could work something out. And he's like, all right. Goes down to Grief Karga. He delivers him IG-11 once again as the new Grand Marshal. Thank you to Cara Dune for going back to Alderaan or her home planet. Well, whatever. She can no longer be the new Marshal. So we've got IG-11 back. And then he settles in at his new property on Navarro, kind of like a cowboy on his front porch, right? Grogu's in the front with a frog. And we do a little, it's almost like a Looney Tunes. Go down to the little Grogu, and then it's gone. And I liked it. It was like a lot of people said it felt like a series finale, almost that it felt like a happy ending for our guys. And I didn't expect that. I expected another kind of Empire Strikes Back type ending. I expected a bad thing to happen right before Thrawn and Ahsoka comes back and everything like that. But this was a happy one, and I wasn't mad at it.
No, so we did think, like, we thought there was a chance Din was going to die this episode.
Yeah.
Right? And
we were way off base with that.
And then we also were thinking, like, I thought at the very least, this is like you said, the halfway point of the series, right? In terms of we think before the movie comes out and all that kind of stuff. So because of that, you would say Empire or a lot of the trilogies, this is the one that kind of leaves you on a bummer note. It's like a little bit Infinity War-ish, where it's like the bad guys kind of win at the end. And instead we get, which feels like the end of he's living in the suburbs. They basically, that was me watching AJ playing in the front yard at the end there.
Yep.
And again, that's why I felt like if I wish this episode had been longer, wrapped up a few more things, or just gave us time to breathe. Because if this is the last time we get these guys doing this version of their adventures, it's like 3 years, and then I guess a couple of Boba Fett episodes. It's like that's a lot. So that was another like critique I had of it all. And I feel like the Mandalorian just might be like, now we're going to talk about the Mandalorian, as in all of the Mandalorians, except for Mr. Mando himself there. So it was a heck of a ride, if so. And again, I think the way they set it up, where I love the idea of him just kind of beating the fuck out of Imperials, killing them for like money or whatever on the side, and then coming back, raising sweet baby Yo as much as he can, and then we go from there. So I don't know, man.
I think I heard Favreau said he had season 4 written already.
So
really? If that's the case, my dream scenario for season 4 is you extend episode lengths. I would like every episode to be 45 minutes to an hour long, and you spend half of the episode with Din and Din doing their bounty hunting duties all around the galaxy, these one-off fun adventures that bring us back to the same vibes as season 1 and 2, especially season 1, like the early season 1 adventures. And then half of the episode can be with Bo-Katan trying to rebuild Mandalore. You could give us some of the politics and Game of Thrones-ness of how that works. And I'm sure she's not the only one that wants the throne on Mandalore. I'm sure there's some cocky Mandalorians that think they're more fit to lead, especially with Bo-Katan's other, moments where she hasn't been so great as a leader. So I think if you just lengthened every episode, don't give us any more half an hour episodes. This is a show worthy of an hour long episode every week. I think that could be a huge change that would really, really just make this show more well-rounded and more of a must-watch week to week. Because this was, I think when I look back at the season, it was enjoyable. It was my third favorite out of the 3. I would go season 2 first, then season 1, then season 3. It felt the most disconnected from episode to episode, but overall, I still enjoyed it more than most shows that I watch. This is a lot of Star Wars at its best in this show, and there were a lot of great episodes too. The episode with the pirates, the episode with Gorian Shard, I think his name was. A lot of great moments from this season. So I don't think it's fair to look back at season 3 and say it was a letdown. I'm sorry if it did let you down. I'm not going to deny anyone's feelings or whatever, but the finale overall and the season overall, I would say, left a little bit to be desired, but is still, 5 years ago, we would have cummed our pants for any kind of Star Wars like this.
This is so much better than what we thought we were getting with the first episode of Mandalorian, basically, right? And then when the Mandalorian hit, where would you place this? This is really tough to do because it's such a different sample size. This season versus the little 2 episode, was it 2 episodes in Book of Boba Fett? Like, I almost feel like those were better than this season just because I remember being just blown away when we watched them. And maybe because we got a Mando episode out of nowhere and we're like, what the fuck was that? That was incredible. But
I think it was that. And it was the fact that in one episode, even though we only saw him for a second, it was like we saw Boba Fett. And then all of a sudden we see the Mandalorian. And then all of a sudden we see Grogu. And we're like, oh, we didn't even expect him to be back this soon because we just said goodbye to him. And then we see Luke Skywalker. And then we see Ahsoka have a conversation with Luke Skywalker about Anakin. And it was just like, what the fuck? Like, it was sensory overload. We didn't have anything in season 3 that felt that like big and that monumental to like these characters that we've followed for so many years and stuff like that.
Yep.
It is like those episodes almost felt more important to the overall Mandalorian story than Mando season 3.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. It was, and this is the other thing about Mandalorian, and even just maybe moving forward, is there is a chance where it's going to go to the Bo-Katan stuff. It's going to go to Pershing, or I don't even know what Pershing's deal is now. It feels like that's just, is that going to get tied up, or is it just going to be a loose end? There's probably enough stuff with Thrawn and all the other things with Project Necromancer and all that shit. But I do think there is a thing where Mando will just go back to kind of being, what do they call it, the spaghetti Western, where it's like, we just have a one-off and it's like, here's Mando's video game quest, got to do this to get that, to get out, and boom, bing, bong, boom. And maybe they'll do that once every 3 weeks or so, and little sweet baby Yo by his side. At this point, like, that's where the show started. This show does change and evolve as it goes along. So I guess like maybe painting it into a corner is something I shouldn't do and just like embrace it. But again, whenever I just think about this season, I just go back. I think of the Lizzo episode. I'm sorry. And Jack Black just being Jack Black. He was not a character. I don't care. His character did not have a name. I don't care if he introduced himself as that name. That was Jack motherfucking Black. And he was just doing Jack Black stuff the whole time, which is fine. I love Jack Black. But it was like, it was a legitimately preposterous thing. And again, this season has had so many different vibes. Like I said, Andor, the pirate stuff, this episode, everything was so different in itself. And I guess maybe that's what Mando's going to be. Was Clone Wars or Rebels like that? Would you just have all different kinds
of Clone Wars had a lot of different vibes, especially Rebels is more Rebels more has the same vibe week to week, but even has variety in it. Clone Wars, you would get one episode that is kind of like a darker story, only featuring clone troopers, and Anakin and Obi-Wan wouldn't even appear in an episode here and there. So you get stuff like that, and you get very different sides of the galaxy. You kind of get to see every corner. So I could see Filoni kind of falling back into that style, not in a bad way, but that is a style he obviously enjoys when it comes to storytelling.
Yeah. Okay. And what would you give this season as a grade?
A ball scale?
Oh yeah, we'll go ball scale, even better.
I'll go all 3 seasons to kind of contextualize it.
Okay.
I would say season 2 was like was like a 4 out of 5 on the ball scale. Okay. Season 1, I would say, was like a 3.8 balls. It was close. Like season 1, by the end, I was like, wow, this is the future of Star Wars, basically. This one, I would probably go like 3.4 balls. Okay. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's fair. I think I was thinking I might have been a little less, actually. I might have been like 3.2. But then if you do that in terms of grades out of 100, that's like a 64, which feels like it's a failing grade, right? I don't know if I give it a failing grade.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
But I'm also grading on a curve because Mando. I don't know.
Compare this season to Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Exactly, and that's where you start grading against that shit.
This was much better, and those are 2 shows that we recapped on this channel, and obviously you heard me week to week. I was pretty optimistic and enjoyed both. I have gone back to some Obi-Wan stuff. I went back to the final episode of Obi-Wan more than once, but this was start to finish much better than both of those 2 shows in my eyes.
Yeah, there was like the scene when Mando and Bo are fighting like the Imperials. Like there's some really cool shit that happened in this all. Then for the finale, even the finale is probably like I can't even grade it because again, there's like the action is almost its own. You almost need like a report card. It's like giving different grades. Like, well, your grade in English was awesome. Your grade in math is failing. Like that's kind of how you almost have to grade this finale. It's like 3 different episodes in one. It's kind of crazy. So I guess like. I'm going to give it 3.2 balls. Final answer for the season. You guys could leave that in the comments too.
Yeah.
Give us your. I think I already said that too. But if you want to give ball scale just for the episode or the season, up to you.
And another thing I'd like to hear from the listeners and viewers in the comments on Twitter, Moff Gideon. We got to talk about this. Is he alive? Is he dead? Clem said he hopes that he's dead because at this point it's just he comes back over and over again. I'm not so convinced. I need to see a body. I need to see his head chopped off like Jango Fett, especially when we're dealing with clones now. He's obsessed with cloning. He's got himself in tanks with the somehow Palpatine returns of the world. I think he's probably going to be alive. I think he's going to come back next season. It's going to be a big shocker, and he'll be like even more like Darth Vader, more like a half droid, half robot, half burnt up man, even more vengeful towards Mando for, making him half machine.
I swear to God, if we get this dickhead back in my life, I'm going to lose. He's the Will Ferrell character from Austin Powers. I'm very badly burnt right now. Like he just keeps dying and he just doesn't go away. And I just want him to get the fuck Mustafa. That's his name. Mustafa Gideon. Hashtag Mustafa Gideon. There's our hashtag for the episode. It's like this guy is so badass, and it's like, and then he just tells you the entire plot, just like Mustafa is. He's like, you just have to ask me 3 times. Same thing. Holy shit! I just cracked the code about how they wrote Moff Gideon. I hope that dude is dead. I hope he is. I hope they drink his, because he's a what do we say? He was appropriating motherfucker that just took their culture, tried to wipe it off the map, and then steal it for themselves, man. He is one diabolical motherfucker. I love Giancarlo Esposito, but I don't want to see him again in the Star Wars galaxy.
What if he just comes back in a Darth Vader costume, just straight up wearing it, and people are like, why are you dressed like Darth Vader? He's like, I'm not dressed like Darth Vader. We have the same injuries, so we just have to wear the same apparatus. He's like, I swear, I'm not copying him.
He does the breath sound on his own, though. Like, he doesn't need the ventilator, so he goes, And they're like, wait, are you making that with your mouth? He's like, no, I actually have like a respirator here. I can't breathe on my own. And it's like, all right, well then talk as the thing breathes for you. It doesn't work like that. It's a newer version. It's not like Darth Vader's. That's who Moff Gideon is. He's fucking Mustafa Gideon. Hashtag Moffle Gideon. He's awful. I feel like Frank the Tank. I'm coming with these goddamn bad buns right now.
Awful. I did talk to Frank about the episode this morning. I saw him in the office. He was a little let down as well. He was underwhelmed. Frank was begging Grogu to say his first words at the end of the episode. He wanted them to zoom in on Grogu and for Grogu to say, the way.
Oh, all right.
Would have been a moment. Got to give it to the tank. That would have been a moment.
Frank's a writer, baby. He's been grinding for years in Sports Encyclopedia. I'm going to call bullshit, though, Bob. Frank is never negative about anything. Tell me he really loved this episode. I've never heard Frank say a complaining word, be a bitch and moan about anything my entire life. He's not a great.
I got to be honest. I set him off right before that too.
Oh no!
Like the Rangers are playing the Devils right now. So earlier in the week, I was just fucking with him, and I was like, Frank, what do you think about the Rangers Devils series? And he goes, I think the Devils have a good shot. I think they're going to win in 6 or 7 games. And I said, nah, they're getting swept. And I just put my headphones on and went back to work. And then today I saw him, and I was like, Frank, what'd I tell you? They're getting swept. They're one on the way. And I thought he would kind of laugh at this. I don't know why I thought that. He did not laugh at that.
Have you been paying attention, Robbie?
It completely set him off, and he went straight to Scott Van Pelt, of course. And he was like, Scott Van Pelt says if you're a Mets fan and a Devils fan, you should kill yourself. And I was like, I don't think Scott Van Pelt said that. His head is spinning. He's doing the gritty, but I don't think he said that.
Hockey Bob is a low-key savage. You know, it's kind of like...
I brought up Star Wars immediately, and I got Frank out of that mindset.
You basically were like Baby Yo when he sprayed him with the little fire extinguisher stuff. You basically extinguished Frank's fire and got him back into a good place. Baby Yo did kind of like say something when he was looking at the IG-11 head. He's like, pop, pop. And he's like, no, that's not him. So I was like, is that his first word in his own little language? So that might have been his first word, and they just completely undersold us on it.
Yeah, that is the other thing. Was that like the part they were looking for? Or was that just because the head was destroyed by the Praetorian Guards? Like, we just got IG-11 at the end, and I was happy to see him and everything. The Babus and the Anzalians were going nuts, but how'd we get him?
Thank you for bringing that up. When Mando was like, well, actually, I want that right there. It's like, wait, did you know going into the bar that they had one of those? Or did you see it and we're like, oh no, like I'll pivot and I'll just throw that in there? Because he made it seem like he flew millions of planets away for that head and was like, I'll kill people for you just for this little old broken robot head. That was sus. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Also, I have to ask, Bob. Yeah. The Bob versus Bo meter.
I knew you were going to bring this up, and yeah, it's gone. I destroyed the meter like the Darksaber, and we could throw it into the forge. Bo-Katan is redeemed. You know, this was a big theme of the Mandalorian. There's redemption. She went to the living waters. She saved our guy's ass more than once this season. I want to say like 3, 4, maybe 5 times. You save him over and over and over again. I could forgive a hypocritical comment here and there.
So I guess the other hashtag would be hashtag Bob was wrong. Is that
Bob
fair?
Was wrong. Bob was wrong.
Oh, was right. We had the tank. We're just bringing up the tank, so I think we almost have to bring that up. So
yeah, no, Bob was wrong. That is a fact.
I got two non-Mandalorian things. Do you have anything else from Mando you want, or
no?
These are 2 Star Wars related things. So I'm like, let me bring them up on the pod before obviously we wrap up. I know the next Star Wars thing we'll be recapping. One, I thought of an awesome idea that I'm going to do, which, I mean, it's really nothing crazy, but so we watched the original trilogy with the kids. Kids are really into Star Wars, especially AJ. And then went to Star Wars land, loves Mandalorian, blah, blah, blah. And I realized I'm about to watch the prequels with them. I'm going to do prequels, really sort of, right? But they don't know that Anakin becomes Darth Vader.
Oh,
so they're going to meet this cute little kid. And they're going to be like, oh, I love him. And then he's going to get older. And he's going to get older. And then he's going to murder a bunch of younglings in front of them. And they're going to be like, and then they're going to go, no. As they watch beautiful Padme die. I'm going to have to film that reaction. Because, like, you can't get reactions like that anymore because everyone knows that. But these kids, they have no clue. Unless, like, Sienna somehow heard his name was Anakin. I don't know. So that's one. I can't wait for that. And then 2, just a funny story. So I got that Millennium Falcon thing I sent you.
Yeah.
I have to find it. If you, all right, I got this awesome Millennium Falcon toy. I was in Disney. They had Millennium Falcons. They kind of were like, whatever. Found one on Amazon. It was $25. This thing is fucking incredible. It's 7 inches big. It's a pretty good size. It has, it's like the Millennium Falcon. You could open the cockpit. It comes with 4 little mini action figures. It comes with Han, Chewie, Leia, and Obi-Wan, and they're dressed in Episode 4 clothing. And then you could open up the top of the Falcon. You could sit them at the little chessboard thingamajigger. There is like all the little parts of the Falcon. They even have the floor lifts up in a part so you could smuggle things just like Han did.
Oh.
It has sound. It has the landing gear. It has the satellite dish you put on. It even has the little one of the gun turrets on the top, and you can put a guy in the gun turret. It is the greatest toy for $25. It is so fucking detailed. It even makes noise if you hit a button as it lights up. It's incredible. Well, of course, I get this thing and I give it to them from the Easter Bunny because I'm like, you know what? Like, let him. It came the day before Easter. I'm like, let him have his day. I'll throw it for the Easter Bunny. They'll love it. AJ's favorite toy. Plays with it. Of course. What's the problem with giving your kids toys? They're going to lose or break stuff. They've lost like all the toys at certain parts. We finally find it. Finally, all the toys are found. Can't find Han Solo though. Can't find Han Solo. We give it to Sienna. She takes it. We're like, Sienna, here's Han Solo. She's like, okay. A minute later, where's Han Solo? We do not know. And I was like, fuck. Out of everyone in the Falcon, I don't care if we lose Chewie. No offense to Chewie. Love him. Same with Obi-Wan. Guy dies like, an hour into the movie. Leia, same thing. She's fucking, she's not important to the Falcon. The Falcon is not her thing. That's Han Solo's ship.
Yeah.
I cannot find Han Solo, Bob. I cannot find him in this house. And I go to my kids. I go, there's only one way to make sure your kids are actually going to look for something with you. I say, I will give $1 to anyone who finds Han Solo, which is basically like giving them $1 million in their money.
Yeah.
Took a look back at myself and I realized I put a bounty on Han Solo. I've become everything I feared I would. I am Darth Vader. I'm Jabba the Hutt. I'm the guy in the goddamn costume with you in Orlando. I'm basically like, oh, Solo, ho, ho, ho. I fucking Jabba'd myself, dude. It was like such a like out of body experience where I'm like, I just became everything I hated in Empire Strikes Back. It was.
You're about to find out which one of your kids is Boba.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, what does he say? No disintegrations?
Yeah.
I've said to AJ basically anytime he does anything, no disintegrations.
That's crazy. And one thing I wanted to ask you about that wasn't Mandalorian related. Did you see the Super Mario movie?
Saw the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was a AJ birthday party, which
Yeah.
is always the way to go. Love.
What's the review?
Mario Brother. 10s all around. 10s
okay,
all
good.
around.
Good. I was very worried. I saw the critics score was tanking on Rotten Tomatoes, but then the audience score was very good. So I was like, okay, I generally am like you and I trust the audience, but I also trust like my friends more than anyone. So getting your review saying it was good makes me very reassured.
Yeah, it's not like I'm trying to think of like a kids movie. It's not like a Toy Story where it's like everyone was like, this is the greatest thing ever, no matter the age. It's like this is a very fun kids movie. It touches on there's so many little Easter eggs. For me, the kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s, kids like you who grew up, 90s to 2000s, it touches everything. And then the kids, so I had AJ and his friends behind me. So I basically had a surround sound of them being like, oh my God, it's Mario, watch out for Bowser. And they were just losing their minds in love with it. And I think KFC said it best. Like these fucking credits grading Mario like a real fucking movie, being like, wow, the plot is a little thin at parts. It's like, dude, it's a fucking Mario movie. They established things for a Mario universe. Did it make $1 billion?
I think it's going to. If it didn't, I think it's very much on track.
Right on but it's on. It was. They're packing them in there. They had like 3 showings per hour basically at the movie theater I'm at locally. I said buy Nintendo stock like 3 months ago before this movie came out. And granted, I bought the stock and it's got up and down a penny. Basically, it does nothing. I don't know when the stock will boom, but I feel like making $1 billion with your first movie has to be a good thing for a stock, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
We have to get Large on the show to explain this because I really don't know. But I liked it. I recommend anyone that like grew up playing Mario, which is hopefully every single person.
Everyone, come on, yeah.
It's worth. If you don't want to spend $20 for a movie and whatever just to get out of the house, wait for it to come out. I absolutely loved it. It's nothing great for adults, but kids love it, adults love it. It's the perfect family movie.
And I think we might have mentioned this when we talked about Celebration news, but I'm pretty sure tickets and showtimes just went live for Return of the Jedi going back into theaters next month for the 40th anniversary. So if you're interested in that, make sure to go on Fandango or wherever you get your tickets. I don't want that to fly under the radar for anyone because I'm definitely going to try to go see it, especially if they do it in like an IMAX theater in the city. That would be like my fucking dream. That would be an amazing day for me, an amazing afternoon. Go see Return of the Jedi on the big screen.
Yeah, that and some of the posters they have out are awesome for that. So definitely check that out. I was hoping to go with you for that, but I'm going to be gone the day before, so that's going to be. It just hits different in the theater. I think we can all agree with Star Wars.
Absolutely. John Williams hits different in the theater as well. You hear those original themes, those original scores. I'm also rewatching Star Wars Rebels right now because I haven't seen it since so many years ago when it was like on the air. And they use so many of John Williams' original music in that show. Every single cue, whenever they hit it, the John Williams just sticks out from the rest. And you're like, oh, it makes you feel warm inside. He was the Final Jeopardy answer the other night, by the way.
Was he really?
He got Final Jeopardy respect. Yeah.
Wow.
The category was the Oscars, and it was like this person has 53 nominations. And I was like, it's got to be my man, John.
Shout out. I love that fucking guy, man. Every time there was a movie I was watching recently, and I was like, oh wait, this sounds like John Williams. I forgot which one it was, and I was like, oh yeah, like you definitely. It just sounds awesome. It's like It's not even just the style; it just is the greatness of it. And I don't know, like he's low key one of my favorite people on the planet, right? It's tremendous, man. I love that.
He's got like 10 of the greatest themes of all time, where anyone else would die to have his like number 11. It's crazy. But that was the Mandalorian finale recap. We went long on this podcast. Thank you for tuning in and staying till the end if you made it till the end, everyone. And we'll be back next week with I guess a mystery episode as of now, because we don't got shows or movies next week. We'll figure something out for the nerds in the basement. Maybe we'll call up Jose Youngs or something. We'll call up one of our pals. Guardians is on the horizon, so obviously that is going to come up before we know it. We'll have to have Jose on to break down the villain in that at least, and some of the new characters that we'll see. So yeah, and interviews as always. I'm kind of cranking out interviews. I did a bunch of hardcore bands this week. I did Speed. I did King 9. I did the singer of God's Hate, who is Brody King. He's also in AEW. He's a wrestler. So look out for all of that. Just interviewed the singer of the Goo Goo Dolls as well, Johnny Resnick. That's coming out on Monday. Thank you to everyone for supporting the Mandalorian reviews this season as well. It's been a very fun season recapping with you, Clem.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. And like you said, the last time we did it was 2020, which is mind-boggling. So hopefully we're not 2026 doing it again.
I know. Yeah, we're hopefully going to get a much faster turnaround. We'll get Ahsoka this summer as well.
Oh, shit, that's right. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, Ahsoka this summer, Secret Invasion before that. The basement are going to keep just recapping shows, keeping the lights on, and hopefully
Guardians
you'll be there with
up.
us.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week.